Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coaching Beyond with Coach Sagasta. I am waiting for one party, and we could get rocking and rolling. Again, my name is Coach Sagasta, and this is No Sugar in My Coffee, and I am Coaching Beyond with Coach Sagasta. There you are.
Are we
All right,
live?
man. We're good and rocking and rolling. Let's
Okay,
go.
great. Good evening
How
from
we
the
doing?
UK.
From the UK in the house.
UK, well, welcome to Sam's Institute of Higher Empowerment Beyond.
That's right.
Thank you for joining us. We
Can you hear
appreciate
me
you.
okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, rock and roll.
So yes, we appreciate you. We appreciate tuning into this video, and thank you so much.
So let's go and dive into it, man. I think the main focus of our definite aim for today is to definitely engage in everything that's definitely happening to this new. I mean, we have exactly 17 days, 408 hours, and so definitely want to express some of the great things that are happening in our life and what we envision, what we're visioning for 2017 to happen to the SAM Institute and to Straight from the Heart and Coaching Beyond, and see exactly what can we do to inspire and definitely assist people from moving from point A to point B in their life.
So as you know, people, you guys, Frank and me together, we've got over near enough 80 years of experience. That in itself should tick a box for you. That in itself. If you don't know Frank's story, jump on YouTube on the Straight from the Heart podcast. I was shocked when I heard. I was not shocked is not the word. I was hurt because I've judging the way you are right now, what you're doing right now. If a man like you has done it, if a man like me has done it, you can catch my life story on YouTube as well. I'll put a link later. If I can do it, Frank can do it. Guys, whatever you're going through right now, you can go through, you can overcome it. But the only way that you can do that is you. Only you can do that. We're here to guide you. Like I've been saying for the past 5 days, we can take the horse to water, but we can't make the horse drink. But we've been, Frank and myself, life experience, we've got 80 years. Knowledge, studying, reading books, collectively, we've got 14 years, collectively.
Yeah.
And the beauty about Sam, I've been in the coaching game for coming up to 3 years now. In the UK, I've had X amount of men and women that wanted to collaborate with me, but I haven't found somebody who's on that level until the Lord blessed me with my beloved brother right here. And everybody knows me. In the US, you might not know me, but in the UK, you know who I am. And you don't see me every week in every seminar. You don't see me when people are saying, "Oh, I want you to jump on." I'll jump on, because at the end of the day, we've got our brand to protect. When I say brand, do not get it twisted. I'm not talking about Carson. I'm not talking about Coaching Beyond. I'm not talking about Straight from the Heart. I'm not talking about the next level coach that I am. I'm talking about the branding is me, Utam Almaraz, Frank Sagasta. Because at the end of the day, I represent me and he represents himself. And believe me, at the level that we're at, we don't want to let ourselves down. If we don't want to let ourselves down, do you think I'm going to let you down?
That's right.
I hand over to my brother. That's just my brief introduction, guys.
I love it, man. And for those that don't know, as my brother said, you could definitely see my life story, a brief summary on YouTube. You can always catch me on all four platforms. You got YouTube, Live Me, Facebook, and now Periscope. So I mean, each and every single morning, you know, I represent Coach and Beyond brings no sugar in my coffee, and I host, you know, myself, and we talk about different things. One of the greatest things that I'm able to do is definitely bring into effect, you know, the scriptures of the day, you know, and I always look to King Solomon because I see King Solomon as being one of the wisest men to ever live, and through young and elderly scholars, that's exactly where they look for wisdom. That's where they look for the principles of success. And so I say, well, what more can you get from out of a Cracker Jack box than the wisest man that ever lived? So you know what? There's a lot of truth in that. And I think ultimately, you know, I think one of the greatest things that has happened for my brother and myself is taking action. You know, despite the hobgoblin, you take action in what we really want in life. And so we as we discussed, you know, as we discussed, like what we're definitely envisioning for Sam Institute, and what we envision for Straight from the Heart and Coach and Beyond to bring to the U.S., along with the collaboration of so many greats in 2017. I cannot wait. Like literally, I'm excited. I know my brother's excited, as he expressed with me this morning. There's just some great things, and you know, one of the most exceptional things is developing a plan. You know, as I expressed, you know, despite the hobgoblin, you want to take action, but in the action, you want to make sure that you have a plan. As my brother expressed a little earlier in our conversation about Kazan. Kazan is my talent. Kazan is my everyday habit. Kazan is my everyday existence of why I am and where I am and where I'm going. So you have my past, my present, and my future. You know, so I express that I share. You know, you got to definitely have action, and you definitely got to have a great plan, and you must have phenomenal habits, man. You got to.
Okay, so you're saying habits, taking the action, having the plan. One thing we've missed out in there, brother, is my favorite thing of all: consistency. You need to do it day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. Because remember, guys, it starts with the crawl. When you don't want to get up at 5 in the morning, in his case, 2:55, 2:50 in the morning. It hurt at the beginning. It did hurt. Last night, Frank sent me a message asking me to jump on a webinar. It was about 9:30 UK time, nearly 10 o'clock, and he says to me, dude, you've got to come on this call, and it was going to be at midnight, and I get up at 5 every day. Guys, how bad do you want something in life? How far are you willing to go? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? Guys, I told you before, you guys know my story. I smoked weed. I woke up, I smoked weed. I smoked weed again. I smoked weed again because I got high, I didn't even clean my room, man. I didn't even clean my room. But today, I want to show something to everybody. Today, this is just a quick glimpse of how much I want my success. And I've kept that weed box right here. I want you guys to have a look at that. Can you see the marijuana leaf?
Yeah.
What can you see on top?
So success or weed?
I think I'll choose success. I've chosen success. I got rid of the weed. I said bye-bye, because you know why? Because when greatness comes, you don't need that external good feeling. That feeling comes within you. Mm-hmm. And this is what me and my brothers hear about in our SAM Institute. This is what we're going to be providing for you guys. This is the techniques, the strategies proven by the greats, proven. Let's take Napoleon Hill for an example, one of my great mentors. He spent 20 years of his life studying, interviewing over 700 successful people. And why do you think I do my interviews? Why do you think? I learned from the great. I'm not doing interviews for self-glorification. Well, I am being selfish. I'm an honest man. I'm straight from the heart, man. I don't BS. I'm selfish, man. That's a selfish act as well. In a selfish act, there's kindness, there's giving. So it's how you look at that selfish act. By me gaining that one-to-one coaching with the world's best, effectively, I'm passing it on for everybody else. So this selfish act has actually become an act of kindness. And this is just a glimpse of what we can do. If you want to know about Sam, go and check out my podcast. Just check out the interview with me and Frank. That's the only one I'll say check out. How we were both vulnerable. Vulnerability takes you to greatness. Because when you're vulnerable, you're open. You're not closed. So we've been vulnerable, haven't we, Frank? We've been so vulnerable, yeah.
It's definitely, yeah. I could definitely say, you know what, you know, we both have definitely seen the path of being vulnerable in life, and I could definitely say that, you know what, and everything that's happened in my life, I still give thanks even for all the trials and tribulations. I mean, ultimately, you have to give that. You have to. I mean, if you're anybody in life, if you have forgotten your past, you want to just use that as your tool and your fuel to push you. It'll only push you so far. But when you're definitely showing gratification toward the things that you've gone on, even in life, you're able to hold on to it and harness it and use that as like a wild stallion. You're just taming that thing to push you on from point A to point B to greatness, as my brother said. And that's so true. You know, I mean, I think so many people, as he brought up Napoleon Hill, you know, is just infatuated by taking this challenge. And through all the trials and tribulations, he was able to give thanks for all the people that he had gone through. I mean, there were times where he had to go through snow blizzards just to get to the West Coast, just to do an interview with people like Charles Schwab or Goldman Sachs, I mean, people, J.C. Penney, I mean, J.D. Letourneau, I mean, different people of that time, because it was pressed upon you. If you want to be phenomenal, you might have to do this. So he had to sacrifice many things, the party and all this other stuff that, you know, that definitely was left behind for him to be successful and him to leave back a map, a foundation, a blueprint of being successful for later on in life. And I think, you know, using my brother and myself, using those tools and honing in on those tools and definitely applying those tools to our life has absolutely just moved, just basically broaden the light, broaden the path of the right direction. We're following the yellow brick road, you might say. You know, if anybody and anybody's ever seen The Wizard of Oz, we're following the yellow brick road, because the yellow brick road leads to prosperity, leads to the Emerald City. And the Emerald City is true greatness. You know, it wasn't all about riches, because even when Dorothy got there, she didn't get what she truly wanted. And it reminds me of a tale, and I'll tell it to you, brother. But you know, this young lady, she walked into a storehouse, and she was blown away. She had this dream. She was blown away. She looked, and she seen God. She was like, wait a minute. She says, what is this? And God looked to her and said, you know what? In this store, you can have whatever you want, whatever your heart desires. And the young lady looked at God and said, wow. She said, I want an hourglass figure. I want, you know, lift my figure up. And I want to have a home on the hills and a big mansion. I want to be filthy rich and be famous. And he said, no. He smiled at her. He said, no. It doesn't work like that. This is a store that gives you seed. And see, my point is, too many people are wanting the things right now. You're wanting everything at this given moment. But what you don't understand is you got to get the seed planted, and you have to seed, and you have to water it, and you have to allow the sunlight, and you have to allow the air, the oxygen, to continue to allow this thing to grow. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, in the 14 years, you know, next year will be 7 years of 365 mission of changing my life. And the same thing goes for my brother, Utam Raz. So I mean, these are well established in principle, well established in philosophy, well established in learning to help other people get from point A to point B.
Wow. There you go. Nuggets after nuggets after nuggets being dropped. I really like the taming of the wild stallion, because I was a wild stallion, man. And what I like, you said about partying, man. I want to talk about partying. The reason people party, because we've been there, Frank. We have been there. We have absolutely been there. We've partied till. I used to party Monday through to Sunday, man. Monday through to Sunday. Why did I party? Because there was something missing in my life. You need to ask yourself that question. Why are you working a whole week, a whole month to get wages for you to go and blow it on alcohol, to blow it on drugs, to blow it, certain people blow it on other vices, gambling, prostitution. So you need an external escape. That's where the problem is. And this is why we're here. Because we've been there. I've known how to give up the partying because we get addicted to it. We get hooked to it. I was hooked to going partying because I look good. I used to be a dancer. And I used to be a bit of a ladies' man as well when I was younger. And guess what? It was because of the attention. The attention. But you know what? The attention won't last. The attention don't last. You're not young and virile throughout your life. Things changes. The course changes. The trajectory changes. Okay, so that's how life is. I've understood that. And also, I want everybody to know that there ain't no get-rich-quick scheme. Been there, done it. There was no get-rich-quick scheme. There's nothing to get you the money overnight. And if you do, you're very lucky. I don't believe in luck. You create your own luck by preparation, by knowledge, by staying up. I used to stay up till 1, 2 in the morning and wake up at 5, sometimes 3. I used to sleep on an hour when I started my business. Are you willing to go that distance? And if you're not willing to go that distance, Frank and you, Tam, can give you the tools, the strategy, the mindset, the emotion, because the mindset is not enough. It stays in the mind. If you ain't got the heart and the conviction to follow through, it's pointless. How many seminars are you going to go to? How many webinars are you going to go to? And one thing I like to tell people, I refuse to work with certain individuals because I'm not going to waste that individual's time and my time and their money. And believe me, I could be selfish. I could be egotistic and say, yeah, I need that money. I'll take that money and run with the money. So what if that person, but you know what? I talked about it earlier. You've got to protect your brand. I've got to protect you, Tam Almaraz, because at the end of the day, I want to walk the street with my head up high, knowing that I've changed a life. I've made a life better. I've made somebody live and stop conforming to what society, conditioning, media, corporations want you to be. So that's my message at the moment.
Yeah, I like that, brother. You know what? Thinking back on my life for those new listeners, I could definitely say, being growing up as an orphan and going through, the foster care system, I could definitely say, you know what, there were a lot of times where, I really wanted to live. I wanted to have the foundation of a true family. And I wanted to have the foundation of what I perceived to be correct in life. And today there's so much incorrectness that people think that it's all right to go in that direction, and it's not. I mean, there's a pitchfork road in the way right now, and a lot of people are always taking the right side. They're always going right because they believe right is right, but it's on the opposite because your brain works in a hemisphere, and I don't want to get too deep in it, but I'm gonna express this that so many people are working in the right brain and going towards this negative path, man. And I think that, I was in that same stage. I mean, I was, many people haven't seen my accountability board, but I have an accountability board in my house. And, anytime my kids do something wrong, or if I do something wrong, or if my wife does, it's automatically look at the accountability board. Am I saying I'm a victim, or am I saying, I'm putting blame on it, or am I making excuses? That's the accountability board, you know, because I've moved in my life and it's taken all 7 years to transfer all the information that I've consumed and all the experiences that I've gone through in life to go from victim to now accountable in life. And accountable is just the cohesive energy as we're being responsible in life. And I think of so many greats that have done the same thing, you know, and I could definitely say that my brother has done the same thing in his life. He's been able to move from victim to now accountable. And, you know, when I think about when we point out, you know, the things in our life and how, you know, I mean, for me, I definitely could say, you know, growing up in that orphanage stage, there was a lot of times where I was angry at the world, angry at my family, angry and frustrated. And I suffered from depression, like just so much, just malice. You know, and I gotta plug this in, brother. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
My apologies. I think that ultimately, you know, our greatest faults that we create, the greatest faults in life are the ones that we create ourselves. And I say that because, you know, we have the God-given ability to transfer our thoughts and our emotions, and a lot of people have never received that. Never. I mean, I'm gonna say it. Because I've worked in the school system for 6 years, I can definitely say this with experience that, you know what, the school system will not teach you this. They will not push you going and educating yourself further and further, because what a lot of people don't understand is you educate yourself at a beginning stage, but it's limitless. It's absolutely limitless, and that's exactly what I learned in this transformation. You know, but I wish somebody would have directed me in my path years and years ago. And you, Tam, you're the same way. If somebody would have pointed you, if a wise individual would have came to you and said, you know, Coach Tam Perez, I want to point you in the right direction. Coach Frank Sagasta, I want to point you in the right direction in 1990. Now, ask yourself, would you be in the same predicament that you're in today, or would you be elevated to a greater standard? I know for a fact that Coach Sagasta would be at a prime standard. I would be in a full-time position of traveling the world with some of the greats, but that wasn't the case in point at that time. The case in point of our hourglass is, you know, everything got to be patient, because everything comes in time. I always say that time is the healer of everything. You know, so I mean, you have to go through the fires. What I'm saying is, you have to go through the fires. So all the times that I was in the orphanage and I was going through the foster care system, it was all about creating this diamond, waking up the giant, feeding the giant within. That way I could be phenomenal, honing down on that wild stallion that I might direct my path and take the stagecoach, and keep on going the straightway. Because everybody that's ever been on a stagecoach, if they hear a shot, man, they're like blinders. These horses, they're just so powerful, though. They're so magnificent. They're able to move, I mean, over 22,000 tons with just 2 horses. That's how powerful these horses are. And that's that energy that you absolutely have to harness in to yourself and control it. You know what I'm saying? And it really does stem from the heart, and it proceeds to the mind, and you're able to influence other people through your mouth. And that's what I love so much about the information. I love so much about the trials and tribulations that I've gone through, because it's absolutely, positively made me a better person, a better husband, a better father, and a better coach in life.
Exactly. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why in 1990 we didn't have that person to do what that was going to show us the way, because we weren't in the right frame of mind. Like you said, everything comes at the right time. Me and my wife spoke about it not so long ago. We said, baby, my wife actually said it, baby, can you imagine what you were doing right now? We did that 7 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah. I said, yeah, but what would we have done when we first met? We were carefree souls. We didn't have responsibility of a family. We didn't have a responsibility of our children. We would have blown everything away. We would have blown everything away. So that becomes like lottery winners. They're not prepared.
Yeah.
For the millions. They don't have the mindset of a millionaire. They don't have a mindset of having that money, and they will lose that. They will go deep down into depression. Some even go to clinical depression. Some even go to subconscious depression.
That's true.
You know?
That's truth. What my brother just said right there is absolute truth. And for those that don't know, the subconscious mind, conscious mind is regulated by 4 levels. And he just brought up one, and I brought up the second, which is the conscious mind. And some people today in life, and I know it's a lot to think and a lot to ponder on, but some people are absolutely captivated and trapped in the chamber of their own mind. And as he said, you're suffering from depression or you're suffering from anxiety from the subconscious mind. You know, and that's deep. That's deep root of what's going on in today's society. You know, and until you break from that, until you find the proper antidote or the proper medication or the proper healing, you will never move from negative to positive. And you notice I use the right to the left because that's exactly where it's at in your brain. It's from the right to the left. You know, so I mean that's deep, brother. I'm glad you brought that up.
And I'm so happy that you're talking about the right side and the left side of the brain, because I want to break something down to people. I don't know what it's like in the US, but I can only talk about my environment. In the UK, in your general schools that you have, they don't teach you public speaking. They don't teach you to stand up in front of a crowd. But guess what? We have a school, what we call public school, but the private schools, where the royalty goes, where the next prime minister or the next government official or the next person that will work in investment banking in the corporate city that will have the next CEO of an organization, but they go to these private schools. We have schools in here called Eton. Eton is where Prince Harry and Prince William goes, where royalty goes, where you get royalty from all over the world. So rich, wealthy people send their children there. Because do you know why? They want their children to succeed. So they are taught from a very young age to stand up in front of assembly and give a keynote speech at the age of 9, 10. Picture this individual at the age of 20, 21. They're going to be so accomplished. But in your general school system, they won't teach you that. If, for example, you do get the chance to stand up in front of class, not even assembly, in front of class, and you do something wrong, guess what they do to you? They ridicule you.
Yeah.
Do you know why they ridicule you? Because they want to kill that side of your brain. They want to kill it. They want to make it inactive. They want to make it dormant like a volcano. But guess what, guys? Dormant means sleeping. It doesn't mean dead. And like any dormant volcano, it can erupt anytime. And guys,
yeah, that word you just used is the same as saying, you know, retire. Because I've heard people say, I've heard former military people say, I'm retiring. I've heard that a lot of times, and I was like, so I asked an old military veteran that was one of my mentors in life. Frank Combs is his name. Very, very passionate individual, very intelligent. I mean, when I seen his library, that's what actually engaged me to start creating my own library within myself. But nonetheless, like he expressed, like retire is like when you absolutely are dead, you retire. So there's former, and like sometimes I'll use that analogy. Like when I say, hey, I'm gonna retire, I mean I'm gonna go to sleep. You know what I mean? But then there's the other side of that. That's the eternal sleep. You know. But I always use that just flippantly when I speak to people. It's like, hey, I'm about to retire, man. I'll give you a call later, or we'll set up a different agenda, a different time, or something like that. And we'll go from there. But yeah, that's absolutely true, man. I didn't think about that until right now, until you said that.
And that reminds me of a colleague of mine that I used to work with about 8 years ago. The guy I used to work in the hospital. He was a porter. He was a Jamaican porter from Jamaica that worked as a cleaner and a porter. But we used to get on really well. We used to have a joke and everything. And I used to say to him, "What time do you finish, man?" He's like, "Me never finish, man. Me never finish." You know why me never finish? The day I finish is the day I die. Is the day I die. And you know what? Now that I'm a learned man, I'm a man with great knowledge, I look back at that, and the man says it. The man who's the cleaner, the man who's portering dead bodies from a hospital, from a from an emergency room to the mortuary at any given time. And if a particular human being has passed away on a ward of a hospital, he has to go up there and wrap up this body. And this is what the guy was saying. That's why you can learn from anybody, from any walk. You can learn from your children. You can learn from the homeless man or woman on the street that people take for animals, that take for a 50th class citizen, not even a second class citizen. Because I see how people deal with that, because I've been there. I've seen the way you get treated. And we're never finished. We never retire, guys. And if you want to retire your brain, you want to retire the creative side of your brain, the creativity side of your brain, it's up to you. It's not up to anybody, because you can revive that. You can resuscitate it anytime. Like they resuscitate the heart. Boom, boom, boom. You'll do that with the brain. And the way you do that, the heart, you use a defibrillator. That's what you call a defib. But the way you do that to the brain, you take the book and defib it. Boom, boom. And that's what we've done. And we're here to pass that on. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, you know, I definitely appreciate that, brother, because it definitely gives more light. You know, look at me, just thinking about some of the greats, and now they've definitely, as you said, used that defibrillator, but not so much on the heart, but on the mind in itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think some of the greatest. You know, one of the things my wife said to me a while back, and I think I shared it with you, but like she expressed, like, babe, have you ever thought, like, you know, working at the school for 6 years was like a stepping stone? And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? And she was like, well, she says, think about it. She says, because you're always talking about being patient. And she says, you were never like that before you started the school. And I'm like, oh, I said, you're right. Yeah, like I wasn't very patient back then. Like I would fly off the handle. If somebody cut me off, I'd fly off the handle. If I had to stand in line, I would fly. But now I'm able to be very patient. I grew with patience. As I was talking earlier in our conversation, as becoming conversationalist, it was, you know, one of the strongest points is being very patient with your growth. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't have a tree, a palm tree or a willow tree or a beautiful, you know, mesquite tree or anything of that sort overnight. It doesn't happen like that. You know, that's why I laugh when I go into like different hardware stores and I see like, oh, you could buy this, you know, this shrub and it gives you off like a bushel of maybe one season bushel of tomatoes or one bushel of one season of jalapenos or peppers, whatever the case may be. But that's a false advertisement. That's manipulation, because nobody wants to wait on the process. Nobody wants to trust the process. Nobody wants to water. Nobody wants to do it. All they want is right now, right now, right now. And what I'm expressing is like, you know, some of the things that I learned at the school was patience. Be patient. Listen, like you said earlier, listen to them, because you can learn a lot. I mean, I worked from kindergartens. I mean, I had, let's see, that's 3 classes. I worked anywhere between 780 to 947 kids weekly. Different ages, different cultures, different ethnicities, you know what I'm saying? Different economic backgrounds. And so I worked with every single one of them, not just as a PE teacher, but also as a mentor and coach in life, whether it was in sports or outside of sports. But I did this for 6 straight years, constantly over and over, sacrificing some of my family time to help them grow, to develop. And I thank God so much for this opportunity that I get to see their success. I just got on the phone with one of them that's moving to Kansas this week. As you know, this was I told her, thank you for being my teacher. And a lot of kids, they don't understand that thinking. But I had to express it like, I was your first student. I will be your only first student for you to understand. And some of them have asked, Coach, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, think about it this way. You taught me something. You taught me how to be patient. And they're just like blown away by that. I said, because that right there is one of the seeds of success, is being patient. You know, I mean, there's almost 21 seeds, 21 steps. But I mean, that is one of these seeds. The primary seeds is be absolutely patient. You know what I mean? Because you have to have absolute patience. So, I mean, that's a nugget in itself, man. You know what I'm saying? Be very patient, and you can learn a lot. My brother said something that caught my attention when he talked about listening to the children, you know, and it's so true. I always express this every single morning on my morning show is, you know, that's the best form of communication, is listening. And until you get that right, you will never be tight. You will never be right. You will never be successful if you don't shut up and listen.
There you go. There you go. Big advice there, guys. Massive advice from my brother. And you have to listen, because when you don't listen, you're being ignorant. You're repeating what's already been blabbed out of your mouths billions and billions of times. Because if you go back from when you first started your speech up to now, how many words have you used? How many things have you repeated? I used to be one of those people that repeated things, kept repeating it, but now I don't. When I speak to Frank, I just sit there, and when Frank speaks to me, he sits there while I'm speaking. He listens. He listens, because what happens, I know he's picked up so many books. There are books that I haven't even picked up, and I know he's going to tell me about that book. And he knows there's many books that he hasn't read and I've read. And this is why we're such a powerful, when I say powerful, don't get it twisted. We're not powerful like the White House or 10 Downing Street in the UK, no. We are powerful collectively to be the light that you need in your life. We're the ones that can guide you, that will give you that torch. We're the torch bearer at this moment in time, and we're willing to pass on that torch to you. Think of it as a relay, as a 400, let's say 100 meters relay. I love 100 meters relay, man. It's so much fun watching Usain Bolt. But listen, guys, when they've done that 100 meters and they've passed on the baton, it's your turn. Your time has come to rise. It's your time to shine. And we're here to make you shine. So do me. Actually, don't do me. Don't do Frank. Do yourself a favor. Make that call.
I love what you just brought up, man. For those that are tuning in that will watch this, I can only express what he just talked about with Usain Bolt, man. Just totally take me back to watching live. I have a friend I went to school with, and Butler, man. And Butler was he was a bobsled. He was on the team 14 bobsledding team, and you know what, man? Just listening to his story and expressing, like, I went to school with this guy, man, and seeing him on the Olympic team really brought a whole different love and meaning towards the Olympics. And then when I went to Vegas for a coaching seminar several years back, I absolutely accidentally, and I say accidentally because it was a true accident, I accidentally sat at a bar. Back when I used to drink, I sat at a bar and I engaged with this fellow, and this young fellow I didn't know back then, but was, last name was Johnson, Michael Johnson or something like that. But I mean, he was one of the fastest men on the earth. Like, he was in the Olympics, and I got to sit next to him and like share conversation. And then he introduced me to a bunch of former Olympians. I mean, we're talking like Olympians that go back into the 40s, and I was just like, whoa, like, some of these people, I was just engaged with just like some of the greatest athletes that ever played, that ever been an athlete, you know, because that's the pinnacle, is when you're a phenomenal athlete. Because I mean, what my brother didn't express is like Usain Bolt, it took patience, it took consistency to get to that point, because anybody and everybody knows that when that shot goes off, when those bricks hit, you know, when it's time for you to jump in that pool, when it's time for you to take off like a bolt of lightning, you don't want a false start, because if you get a false start, you're eliminated. So it's a case in point that you don't want to eliminate yourself from where you want to be in life. That's what I said earlier. I said you want to take action despite the hobgoblin. You want to take absolute action, but make sure that you don't take the false action. You want to be 100, you know what I'm saying? You want to definitely practice, stay consistent, and get going in that race, like my brother said, because you're in the biggest game of your life, man. What people don't really realize is you're in a race right now. You're in a race to death. Are you hearing me? Like, you don't know when your day may end. No man knoweth the hour or the day, when the day approaches, when God will call you home. But I mean, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm going to make a masterpiece every single day. I'm going to apply practice every single day. I'm going to apply my phenomenal habits to my life every single day. And I'm going to make somebody else's life every single day great. Do you get what I'm saying? That's truth, man. That's the tree of true liberty, true freedom, and true knowledge right there, man. You know, you want people to be great. So here's an apple. You know what I'm saying? Start to practice. Start to practice right now. Start making it great.
And talking about Bolt, talking about Usain, talking about my man Michael Johnson. I love that guy, man. I love that guy. He's a legend. He's actually working in the UK now, man. He works on the TV in the UK. He works for the British Broadcasting Corporation for the Olympics and for the World Championships and everything to do with athletics. Wow. He's a pundit. He's one of the commentators there in the UK. They got him.
Wow.
But going back to Usain Bolt, I'm going to quote something from the great man himself. I love this dude. This guy came from poverty, man. This guy used to run without shoes. But what Usain Bolt said, running the Olympic and breaking the records, going to the World Championship, breaking the record is not the hard part. That's the easy part. The hard part was the training, the hurt. When your legs are hurting and you still have to get that 9 seconds, under 10 seconds for 100 meters. People that don't know about sprinting, do you know how hard it is to sprint? Sprint after sprint after sprint after sprint. And when you're going to be shining, that's when it's all worth it. It's like me. If you put me on a stage 7.5 years ago, 7 years ago, what would I talk to you about? I'll be telling you all the different strains of marijuana. I'll be telling you all the different ways to roll it. I'll be telling you about women. I'll be telling you about drink. I'll be telling you every nightclub that you can go to, man. That's what I'll be standing on stage and talking. Would that serve you? It's just going to dig the hole for you. But now, when I go on stage, that dirty work, that nitty gritty, well, I didn't want to pick up that book because I'm tired from working a 12-hour shift. And I sat down. My brother Frank will tell you, we don't sit on couches, man. Hard chairs so we don't fall asleep. Are you willing to do that? If you're willing to do that, hit us up. Hit us up. We'll be here to help you. We've got a great webinar coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow, yes. That's because I get confused, man. Because you guys are one day before us. It's going to be 7 o'clock your time, Mountain Time. And it's going to be 2 a.m. in the morning. Guys, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. There you go. This is, again, I'm not bigging myself up. I'm giving examples. I could be in bed with my wife. I could be in bed holding my children, cuddling my daughter. But no. And it's cold in the UK, man.
You're a comfort killer, man. You're a comfort killer. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
We kill the comfort. Because you know why? Sitting in comfort gets boring, man. It's the same thing. Let me give you an example. On my day job, they were talking, yo, U-Town, you coming to the Christmas party, man? I was like, guys, don't you understand? I don't go Christmas parties. Oh, where you guys going? We're going to such and such place. Oh, haven't you been there for the last 3 years? Yes. The same Secret Santa for the last 3 years? Yes. Why are you going? Oh, it's fun. Oh, what are you going to be doing next Sunday? It's Sunday coming up. What are you going to be doing Sunday night? I said, do you know what? When you're going to be consuming the devil's juice, I'm going to be consuming knowledge. I'll be sitting here with Frank. I'll be sitting with Shane. I'll be sitting with Les Brown. I'll be sitting with Dr. Eric Thomas. I'll be sitting with Tony Robbins, whoever that day may be, whoever's giving me that knowledge, I'll be there to grab it with both hands like that, with dear life. Because with knowledge, and if you apply knowledge, guys, don't get it twisted. I know men that's got more knowledge than me and Frank put together combined, but they're not applying it. They're not applying it. They're still in their 30s, staying with mummy and daddy, but yet they've got all this knowledge trapped inside them like stagnant water. It's going to turn green. And when it turns green, it's my brother's favorite word. What's that goblin, brother?
The goblin, the hobgoblin.
There you go. That's the green. Ugh. But you know what? I love it now. Try to come for me. I've become Mike Tyson now, man.
That's it.
I'm Iron Mike, and that's what it's about. And if you want to become iron, iron sharpens iron.
In fact.
As we're talking about iron. That's why over there, who's an iron. And you got Miraz over here, who's an iron. And we have no qualms. We have no fear. We're not scared of sharpening each other, because do you know why? There is no competition.
Nope.
The competition is with yourself.
Fact. That's it. It's an everyday process. That's why you see Kazan in the background, because that's my DNA. That's my habit. You know what I'm saying? As Kazan is continuous improvement. And it's a statement that, you know what, a great philosopher and business owner developed and put into practice. And Coach Sagasta adopted it and said, you know what, that's going to be my thriving beat of my heart. You know what I'm saying? Is my drive is to be continuously improving in my life, that I might inspire and help other people. And that's why I moved, you know, my business in that realm from, you know, just being coaching personal one-on-one for sports to saying, you know what, I'm coaching beyond now. Like you know what, it's away from the field, away from the basketball courts, away from the baseball diamond, and straight to the heart, because that's where the real diamonds lie. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to engage on something like that, man. And, you know, it always brings me back to what my brother was saying, is like, the hobgoblin is fear. You don't want fear in your life. There should be only one thing to fear, and that's God, and that's it. You shouldn't fear death. You shouldn't fear anything. There shouldn't be no fear of that, and that's it. Like, straight up. And a lot of people so much, they sit with the bracelet or with the brand upon their heart saying, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Leave me where I'm at. Let me be. And that's a shame, because that's what society has created. That's what some of the school systems have created. That's what some of the institutes have created. Not all of them, but some of them the institutes have created. That's what some of the families in our world have created, is a sense of conformity. You cannot do this. You can't do this. You can't go out, you know, and that's wrong. That's the wrong mentality. What was that? Oh man, that was Poor Richard, man. Poor Richard. The story of Poor Richard. It's there's a penny saved is a penny earned. And so understand, you'll never find pennies in your house. You have to go walk around the street. You'll find a penny every single time you pick it up. It's the old saying, you'll find good luck. But there was a true statement, there's a true essence and a true philosophy and principle behind that. Is a penny, you know, a penny saved is a penny earned. So, I mean, you got to save your pennies. And now's the opportunity for me and my brother to show you where those pennies lie, where those diamonds are absolutely at. And like I said earlier, man, it's to hone down on that wild stallion, as I did with one client yesterday. Hone down on that wild stallion and start riding in the.
Sorry, guys.
You all right, brother?
Yeah, I'm on the iPad today, man, because I just got home. As you know, I've been out all day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't put the iPad on the holder.
Yeah.
Like I do with my phones and stuff. But we don't have long left now, and I want to touch on something just now. You just talked about fear. Fear does not reside in here. Fear resides in here, in the heart. And if you let it reside there for long enough or longer than it should be, guess what, my friends? It becomes hatred. It becomes hatred. Before it becomes hatred, do something about it. Because once it becomes hatred, it's going to consume you like a disease. You're going to start hating life. You're going to hate on the next person's success. You're going to even hate on an athlete because they've been successful, because you're consumed by hate. Hate only comes from fear. And I do not use that word hate lightly. I hardly use that word, but today I have to use it, because it's up to you to overcome the fear, or let the fear consume you and turn you into hatred, and you'll become a dark shadow. And by you having hatred in you, I don't know what your lives are like, whether you got family, whether you got children, whether you got siblings. That's only going to rub on to them. And especially if you're growing children, you don't want that to happen. And that's the last bit I'm going to drop for you guys. You can catch me on www.utamarmaraz.com. You can catch us on the webinar tomorrow at 7 p.m. MST, 2 a.m. on Friday morning GMT, and where you're going to be getting more of what we're doing today. We're giving you a preview. We're giving you a preview. You see my brother Frank here, yeah? I've always told him, he will tell you the same thing. Do you remember I said to you, you remind me of The Rock, brother, Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, but do you know what? You're a bit skinnier though. You're a bit skinnier. You need to grow some muscles, man. But listen. I saw you on the bars the other day struggling.
Oh,
We're not 18, but we can build up to it again. But one thing though, there was a reason for that, my brother. Do you know what? Things happen before we realize what happened, because the mind races. When you're knowledgeable and you've acquired so many things, you might not even consciously know it, but your subconscious knows it already. Why I called you The Rock. And today on live, I call this live TV. This is my TV, man. I don't watch general TV.
That's right.
You are my rock.
I appreciate that.
You are my rock. You know, my wife is my rock in my house. But outside my house and my wife, you are my rock. And there was a reason why I called you my rock. And guys, if you want to rock in your life, don't look any further. It's right in front of you, man. You've got my brother here. My brother will sustain you, will elevate you, will hold you accountable, will kick your butt virtually, because this guy, when he gets in your head, he's bigger than fear. He's bigger than anger. He's bigger than comfort, because he's the comfort killer. And I'm done.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you getting on, man. You know, there's nothing more exciting than definitely sitting here and harmonizing with you, because I mean, ultimately, I mean, being able to be on a platform like this, I always show a lot of credit to the people that have developed these tools for us to use, because without them, man, you know, these things would not be possible. And that's the truth, you know what I'm saying? And I'm so blessed that God has created man in his image, that he's created people with the intelligence to create these platforms, to have a strong alliance. And that's my last thing I leave with you, is have a strong alliance with someone, you know, and definitely get engaged with that. And I'm so thankful that I have that alliance with my brother Utamarmaraz in the UK and his family, because it is truly important for me to have strength and unity built around me in order for me to it's called there's a word that we use in our home, and it slipped my tongue, but it's a Saxton. It basically means to shine, you know, and so I mean, you got to think about what you want. You want to surround yourself with those people that are in the same vibration as my brother mentioned earlier. I appreciate you guys for being on. UTAM, I love you, man. I thank you so much for being on. And let's go ahead and wrap it up with this, man, and say, you know what? You have you got how many days, brother? How many days do we have? We have 17 days, 408 hours to start getting engaged and start changing your life from point A to point B, and make the rest of your life the best of your life. So start changing now. Thank you very much for tuning on.
Thank you. And guys, one last thing I need to drop, because you just talk. When we talk, everything comes. If this was my you know, every day I do my own quotes. I don't copy anybody. It comes from the divine within. I ask the divine every day, can you give me my quote, please? Sometimes it doesn't come for about an hour or two, then bang, it comes. If you want to eliminate the world, be the light. If you want to eliminate the world, be the light. And guys, I am the light. Frank is the light. So let us illuminate the world together. Let me pass on that torch to you guys. I talked about torch bearing. We are the torch bearers, and together we'll pass you the torch. Hit us up, tomorrow on the webinar. We're going to put all the information up today on all the platforms. And please subscribe, guys. You're not going to miss out. It's free. I used to hear when the best things taste, the best things that are free taste the best.
Right.
Come on, guys. Come and hit us up tomorrow night. 7 p.m. MST, 2 a.m. GMT. Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Love you, brother.
Take care.